I want a wife. I'm not going to be pressured into getting married.
I just felt myself falling out of love with Liz.
I want to be single.
What the f*** is this piece of
Awesome! So I was hoping, like really, really hoping that Liz was going to ghost Ed after finding out that he canceled their wedding. I mean, he didn't even tell her that he canceled it. She found out from her officiant. Could you imagine? So I wanted that moment for Liz, you know? Where Ed tries to meet up with her, and he's ready to explain why somehow it's Liz's fault that they weren't getting married. And then she just didn't show up. She had packed up her stuff and her kid and just took off, never talking to Humpty Dumpty ever again. That would have just been the best way to end this. I wanted that for Liz so badly. But instead, on episode 9, we got the complete opposite of that. Liz does not ghost Ed. She does, in fact, meet up with him at a coffee shop. And at first I was like, why meet up at all? But in episode 7, unfortunately, Liz said that she was still not done with Ed.
I'm scared because I don't want this relationship to be over. It is terrifying to lose someone that, you know, I fought so hard to be with.
So instead of just doing a mic drop exit and never talking to this cretin again, she's going to embarrass herself by trying to stay with Ed. Even though Ed has been the worst possible partner that constantly breaks up with her. Even though he canceled their wedding that was only weeks away without telling her. And then he even tried to meet up with her at a bar to yell at her for embarrassing him in front of his family. Even after all of that, she still wants to throw her life away with Ed. But really, Liz, you are 31 years old. You have your whole life ahead of you. I just don't get why you want to be with this guy. Whatever the reason is, it honestly just makes me sad for Liz. She's literally the only person that would fight for this guy too. I swear he's gonna realize that later. No one wants Ed. I have made so many videos about Ed and Liz during their 3-year relationship that felt like an eternity, and I really at one point thought, yeah, they're really never gonna break up. But Ed canceling a wedding just weeks before it was supposed to happen without telling Liz.
So I got my deposit back.
Glad.
Thank God.
After she moved across the country away from her family, her job, a partnership offer, and then just saying it's over, done. I really thought that that was going to be enough for her to walk away, finally. I mean, he made it pretty easy. Like, you can't come back from that. That's like the biggest asshole move you can make. But now she is proving that I guess nothing would have made her leave him for good, unless he was the one to finally cut it off. So now she's just in this coffee shop, waiting for him to take her back, waiting for him to say they can still be together. This was just another stupid breakup.
I definitely don't want my relationship to be over with Ed.
But now what? They just don't get married? Ugh, Liz. If anything, Ed is actually giving her a gift of not marrying her, which is weird to say, but he really is. And for like a second, as he's saying this, I catch myself like nodding, thinking, yeah, he is really technically doing a good thing for her.
I know we wouldn't want to end in a divorce, and that's how I saw it happening, and I didn't want to do that to you.
But then I catch myself and remember, this was not for her. He's not doing this to free her of him. That's not what this is about. He did this for himself. He wants to be single. And this spineless egg used the approach of canceling a wedding and not even bothering to tell his fiance.
You told me I had to find out through your friend, Ed. You know how embarrassing that is?
He wasn't letting her down gently. This was the worst way to do this, the absolute worst. And he's acting like it's not that big of a deal. Like, this is just such a casual conversation. Like, he canceled a wedding. Family was flying out. Liz bought a dress. F off, Ed.
I want to be single, work on my career, and
So I feel the need to translate what he just said real quick to the people that might be new to this little Ed situation. When he says work on his career, you may be wondering, what career is he talking about? Because the words I want to be single and I want to work on my career actually mean I need to be single to be on the Single Life 90-day spinoff again. He'll get his little 5 minutes of fame again, even though I don't think that's going to go the way he thinks it's going to go. People are pretty sick of him. So to make that happen again, to get back on that 90-day Single Life spinoff, he canceled his wedding. His engagement to a woman who has put up with him for 3 years and has always taken him back when he has been a disgusting jackass. He wants to restart what he did on The Single Life before. He's doing this so he can be filmed prowling on young, vulnerable women in other countries. On his first season of The Single Life, he chased down Liz at her own job, cornered her while she was working into dating him. But apparently Liz is no longer young enough for him. She aged out at 31 years old. I mean, this 58-year-old must have some 30-year age cap, like Leonardo DiCaprio's 25-year-old age cap. Because now he's worn Liz down. She's too old at 31. So now he's throwing her away like trash to find his next younger victim and make more money on Cameo.
Liz, rest assured, I'm always going to be an ass.
No, you're a better person out here, Ed.
I thought that the wildest part about this whole conversation they have is that Liz is like complimenting him, saying he's grown so much and is such a better person, but he just like ruined the last 3 years of her life. And then pretty much acts like it's her fault that this happened because he fell out of love with her.
I just felt myself falling out of love with Liz. You know, as hard as it is on Liz, you know, I wanted to take the least painful approach.
And she's still just sitting there. Girl, you should have ghosted him, and I don't know how you were just sitting there. Humpty dumped you. Get out of there.
If you ever meet anyone like me, just run.
I don't want to meet anybody else.
I would love to be able to go back and tell the Liz crying over the mucus man that, hey, you are so much happier after this. This was the best possible outcome for you. You are now doing so much better, and you are not shackled to this idiot. But no, she does not realize yet how good for her this really was. And even though the way it happened was horrible, I'm glad that they did not get married. And I thought that this was it. This was their last scene together. They would go their separate ways. And Ed saying that they just had a lease for their house made me think this would be an even faster, easy separation. I actually thought that they had bought that house together because they were getting married. And Ed had mentioned how he wanted to be cordial in the split.
I just want to help you, figure things out. And I just want to be cordial to you and Riley.
And he's a freaking liar. Because in the still to come preview, that is not what happens.
Big Ed the Fly wants to remind you to subscribe to this channel.
You're my best view. I just want all your furniture out of here.
Well, maybe you should have been a man.
Maybe you should have done a better job raising your daughter.
Oh, I did a fantastic job raising my daughter.
That doesn't look cordial at all. And why is he saying anything about raising a daughter? His daughter hates him. So at the end of the clip, Liz's mom says he's going to die a very lonely old man or something like that. But her pause after he's going to die,
He is going to die.
it made me think for a second that this was going to be an all-out brawl. So this was not going to be the calm, cordial breakup Ed made it seem like it was going to be. He must, of course, continue to be the absolute worst until the very end. Why do I feel like Liz's mom could wipe the floor with Ed? Who do you think would win in a fight? Liz's mom or Ed? Let me know in the comments. I'm just glad that this is finally over. And my final thought is that I'm really wondering how they're going to explain the articles saying that the wedding actually happened. It did not happen. So this whole thing in these articles was BS. There was no wedding, but they tried to claim that there was. The biggest surprise for me with this is that I'm shocked that Liz's family was able to keep quiet about that for so long. Because I'm sure it was so upsetting having everything canceled. They, I'm sure, had like accommodations, were planning to come out in just a few weeks, and then boom, the wedding's canceled. So I really want to know if they end up explaining that. Maybe a wedding did happen on that day and they just used that information about that wedding to say that a wedding did happen. That's one thing I hope they explain, because that to me was such a manipulative lie by TLC to make an article saying the wedding happened. So I'm curious to see what happens with that and if they explain that on the rest of this season. Again, let me know what you think and I will see you in the next video. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye!